Sedge Productions, and today we're going to do a ranking. Top 20 films of 2023. And this is going to be Tristan's picks.
Yeah, and so you might disagree or agree, but I really couldn't care less. So straight into it, number 20 is the film 65, which was like, wasn't terrible, but it's a sci-fi film starring Adam Driver, and it's like, him and his family end up crashing back to Earth on like their rocket ship or spaceship, whatever. Okay. And it's him basically trying to get the parts to repair it while helping his like sick daughter. It had a good premise and it could have worked, but this film was actually quite boring, and at times I just was trying to think of other stuff to do.
Alright,
and if it doesn't hold your attention, then I don't know, it kind of fails.
Okay.
That's why it's at the bottom.
So any other thing? Was the writing poor?
No, the writing was okay, but the middle of the film was very forgettable. Just forgettable, and that's not what you really want in the film. A film can be downright bad. If it's forgettable, that's just worse than anything. And it could have been really good because it's kind of like, remember the film with Jaden Smith, and they redone
After Earth.
After Earth,
that is awful.
And it's like a world that's set 65 million years ago on planet Earth, and it's all like dinosaurs and all that kind of stuff. It's basically Adam Driver against like dinosaurs and mutants, while having a kind of emotional backstory in a B-plot in the background about his daughter. And there's twists. There's a twist at the end there, which is kind of pays off, but it's very standard stuff, which never really hits the heights. And plus, they filmed it 2 years before they actually released it, so it kind of got lost in the shuffle on the way. You could tell the studio didn't really want to release it at the time, but they kind of had to.
It's a shame because on premise and ideas-wise, it actually doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah.
It actually sounds like a pretty sick movie.
But it's like 90 minutes and they don't really flesh out the plot. The premise is quite, I wouldn't say the most convincing premise in the world either.
Oh, fair. Okay.
It was just lacking. But yeah, that's number 20. But number 19, you're going to disagree with this, Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like...
You loved it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like Cocaine Bear is just... Wait, let's just do a quick premise of it real first. So it's basically about a bear that takes a lot of cocaine.
Nice premise, that really needs to be done.
And that's all it had to be.
Yeah.
And that's all it was. And it didn't try to be anything different than that. And it's just a film that, you know, just everything's saturated with like superhero films and, you know, political stuff and everything like that. It was just nice just to sit down and actually just watch a film, turn off your brain and then just watch it.
Like, I think it was very good
yeah,
for escapism and just kind of fun, gory moments.
Yeah.
But I feel like it kind of went down the line of not being... It didn't really toe the line of campy. It was just kind of bad in parts. Yeah. There was a lot of characters that they introduced that didn't really do anything, that were just completely pointless. A lot of like loose ends that weren't really tied up. And I know that's kind of weird in terms of saying that for a film called Cocaine Bear. But a lot of things that in your mind you're thinking, I didn't really get why they did that or why they did that. And the bear's barely in it.
I mean, the bear's in it like a
the
fair
story
amount.
of the film wasn't...
I mean, it's like a fair amount, but in the end, it just says what it is on the tin. A bear on cocaine that kills people.
But do you not agree that some of the main story was just kind of weak?
No, yeah.
But explain the main story about the drug.
You know what?
Drug cartel.
I think it's like it's a plane that goes over and it drops a whole bunch of cocaine in like the woods because they're trying to smuggle it over, and then the bear basically takes the cocaine and just starts going on a killing spree. But that is the whole premise of the story, and like I said, it doesn't need to be anything else.
I will give you some very fun death scenes, which is the beginning couple. The first 5 minutes of them in the woods and the first introduction of the bear was fun. And the ambulance scene.
The ambulance scene's great. Boring. The ambulance scene's great.
There's some memorable scenes in this.
I remember the one where the kid is up the tree and there's the other guy up in the tree. And then like the guy's got like cocaine all over his face or something, and the bear like sniffs it and then runs down that tree to go to the guy with the cocaine and just annihilate him. Like I said, like it had fun moments in it. Like I can forgive the fact how the story isn't that great. I can forgive the fact how the characters aren't really massively memorable, because in the end it just provided everything that I wanted. It's a bear on cocaine fucking shit up.
Yeah, I can give you that.
And I feel like it can be forgiven because it just basically just did that.
I think it was a fun film. I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. I couldn't really rate it any higher.
Yeah,
maybe 5 out of 10 actually.
Like I get it. I get it's not a film for everyone. I'll give it like a 7. I think it was enjoyable enough to get me through it.
Yeah, it's like short run time.
It's short. Like it didn't need to be.
And it was
longer.
fun when it came out. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, it was fun.
But it's just forgettable. I think very weak in general.
No, like I do understand.
Fair enough.
I do understand.
Number 18 for me was Super Mario, because just no. But we've already reviewed this, but go into it, why you think it was weak.
Well, Super Mario is a very, very weak movie. It, like, characters-wise, it really massively flops. It doesn't keep to, like, any sort of structure and story. It basically, like, it just really, like, butchers a lot of the characters. I think that was, like, the biggest problem. Like, it butchered Princess Peach, it butchered Luigi. Like, the story itself was just, like, nonsense. It was pure nonsense.
Yeah, but it was aimed at kids. It did well for that. It's basically telling a story for kids.
The animation, cinematography, great. The actual story, writing, and everything in between is terrible.
Yeah, so for the same reason that I maybe didn't like Cocaine Bear, you thought the bits where you actually enjoy watching a film for, it just didn't do anything for you.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, like Princess Peach can do everything.
Yeah, and
you know, like, how can I get behind that? And then also, like, she wasn't even, like, born to be a princess. They all just immediately liked her and then made her
I think they should have mashed the two films together. Put Cocaine Bear into the Mario world.
Dude, I would love that.
That'd be great.
I'd love to see Mario fight a bear on cocaine and then rip up Princess Peach.
What would you rate out of 10 the film?
What, Mario? Like 4?
Okay. I'll give it like a 5.
Well,
I'm with you on the points. It was pretty weak.
Yeah, pretty weak.
Right. And number 17, Marvel, first Marvel entry at the thing. It was Ant Man and the Wasp Quantumania.
Quantumania.
Yeah, just like not terrible at all, but very kind of slow to get its story up and running. And then the middle's, I don't know, a bit chock-a-block. Too many distractions, too many things that don't get resolved. Kang's really good. I think Kang was the best thing in that film, despite all the off-screen stuff.
Domestic abuse, domestic violence.
Yeah. But I thought it was a very, very good performance by him. I think Paul Rudd's just annoying. People seem to mistake like chirpsy and fun, like annoying for fun, and he's not. He's just
poor Paul Rudd, man.
He's in everything, and he's just no.
Mate, he was great in like all those comedies.
Well,
every single one.
He was okay, but it tries to be sci-fi, and they try to use the multiverse again, and it just feels like a rehash of everything that's come out in the last 2 years, but without really adding any quality to it.
See, I personally haven't seen it yet, so this is just basically just going off you. So, apart from Kang, yeah, is there anything else positive you can take from the movie?
I mean, the acting was okay. The choreography's really good as well. It's a Marvel. You expect the choreography and the
I can imagine
CGI to be really good.
I've actually heard that the CGI is terrible. So apparently, there's this character called like Modok.
Yeah, it's
and he looks really weird. Like even I've seen pictures of him, and he looks.
It's just basically a giant head. Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Like the CGI in it looked really.
That was
bad.
unresolved because his individual storyline was very weird. He's like a villain at the start, and then he goes through like some weird. He has a single conversation with one of the characters. I can't remember her name. Whoosh. And then he turns into like a good guy and sacrifices himself. It's all very like unplanned. He's kind of like threw stuff at the wall and
just kind of like this channel.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't knock your product, man. But no, I just thought like throw stuff at the wall, see what sticks, and then kind of put it in the movie if it seems good or zany. And I don't know, it starts exactly the same way as it ends. Paul Rudd just walking down the street, being a happy-go-lucky little twat, and it's just like, oh, isn't life so good? We solved this mystery, kids. And it's, I don't know, just
Poor Paul Rudd, man.
Something just kind of put me off the film tonally.
No, fair. Right, so give it a rating for me.
6.
6. That's fair enough. I personally haven't seen it, so I can't rate it.
Yeah, it's also like 2.5 hours, but people really love their Marvel, so...
No, like, I get, like, the whole Marvel thing, like, but for me, like, when I was younger, so when it was, like, Phase 2 and Phase 1, it was all just... Every time a Marvel film came out, that was the big thing. Like, you had to go see it in cinema. Like, you had to keep up. You had to keep up to date. Because it had that massive, like, overarching plot with Thanos. Marvel now, you don't really need to see the next one.
Okay, number 16 was Reinfield, the vampire one, starring Nicholas Hoult and Nick Cage.
See, when I first saw the trailers for that kind of seemed right up my alley.
Yeah, it should have been. It was very heavily advertised, but the reason why it's so low is because it didn't really make the most of its core premise. Basically, Nicholas Hoult is the familiar for the vampire that's played by Nick Cage, and the familiar is basically
the guy who like gets all the blood and everything.
Yeah, and protects them and whatnot. And Nick Cage is the guy that does all the killing and whatnot. And what is already advertised in the trailer is Nicholas Hoult's character is basically going to this like self-help group, and he keeps saying like I'm in an abusive relationship, and he's like too codependent. So it's played for laughs. It's not like it's done tastefully, but it's also very, very lacking. Because Nicolas Cage is barely in it, and they don't make the use of Nicholas Hoult as an actor. I think he's very good, but the script doesn't really give him a lot of good stuff to work with.
Oh,
And
really?
it's basically him and Aquafina, who herself's quite decent, but she's like an honest cop who's trying to like show the injustice and corruption within her own department.
See, I'm not really a big fan of her.
Yeah, and the two kind of plots where Nicholas Hoult and then her, they don't really mesh that well together because they meet and form an alliance, but it's kind of very forgettable. There's no chemistry between them two.
Yeah, like
Nicolas Cage clearly don't want to be there.
Really?
Yeah, I get that vibe.
Does he not go full Nick Cage?
Not really. He's not really allowed to. He's very restrained. And that's not by his choice, that's by the script he's given. Because he literally pops up maybe about like half an hour into the film. Yeah, and he ends up killing everyone in Nicolas Cage's self-help group. Sorry, Nick Holt's self-help group. I don't know, it's just very, very lacking, quite forgettable for me. But there was decent enough comedy in there. He didn't really know whether to tread the line between... he didn't know whether to tread the line between being a horror or a comedy. And it didn't really have good enough elements of either to put it higher up the list. Okay. And also, it had a budget of 65 million and only took like less than half. It flopped, yeah.
That's a bad flop.
It wasn't very good. It was very heavily advertised, and that's probably where all the budget went. I don't know, it just lacking. Another 90-minute film that didn't really...
See, that kind of confuses me. If you're going to hire Nick Cage to be in your film, you want him to go full Nick Cage.
But he's the B character in this. And Nick Holt's good enough to hold a film.
Yeah, yeah.
But just, I don't know, they weren't given anything to really kind of wrap their chops into. So that's why it's number 16 on the list for me. Yeah, so
that's fair.
Number 15 was Pale Blue Eyes. Came out January on Netflix. Never actually aired at the cinema, but I just kind of liked it.
Pale Blue Eyes.
It was Christian Bale as a detective, set in West Point Academy, the military base in New York. And the plot is there's a young lad who's hung himself, and the military hiring this former cadet or former army guy who's now a detective, played by Christian Bale, to solve it. And it goes kind of Shutter Island-esque in the psychological aspects. It's very dark and very like cloudy in the camera work. And it's also very good. It's got Harry Melling in it, the guy from Queen's Gambit, and he's spectacular. He plays a young Edgar Allan Poe, which is like one of the main draws of the film. And it's them two teaming up to sort of, with their contrasting styles of solving a case. But it also goes very deep into Christian Bale's past, where his daughter was committed suicide after getting raped. And the whole thing comes full circle because there's further deaths and everything's more interconnected than you'd think originally. So it's quite clever. It's a tight script and it makes use of the characters, but it goes kind of cultish in the end. But I won't spoil it. I think it's a good film that's worth a watch, and I liked it. Okay. But I couldn't rate it higher than some of the other films on the list.
So what would you give it a rating out of 10?
Ooh, I think I'd give it a 7. You know, I liked it. There's certain bits that maybe drag out a little bit longer, but that's part of the genre. And there's definitely films that are in that genre that have played it better. But it's definitely a film that I think was good.
So when you think of it, what is the biggest positive you can take from this film?
I really like how they shot it. It's very dark and very like you feel like you're in the 1830s. Everything feels very authentic.
Okay.
And that's done with the that shows the quality of the camera work involved.
That's true.
Yeah, and also the writing's good. The two leads are very good in it, and the mystery itself's sort of basic, but like pretty good. Once you find out about his backstory and then some of the other murders, you can kind of piece together where everything's going pretty well.
That's fair enough.
But it's a good 2-hour watch. I thought it was
2-hour watch. That's long.
Oh, I rated it. Yeah, so there's that. Number 14, I'd say also came out in January, is Megan.
Megan, the one with the doll.
Yes.
Killer doll.
So it's essentially about a lady who creates a doll. She works for like a high-tech toy company or whatever, and they're trying to find what's going to fill the market, what's going to give them sales, what a kid's going to love. And she ends up building this doll that's inspired by her daughter that she has to take in. So that's like the B plot. And in the beginning, like the kid's family dies, and then she has to go live with her sister, who's like has no idea how to raise a kid. And then she struggles to deal with her parents' like deaths. And that's played very well. It's not done cheaply. It's actually given care and attention, and the relationship between the two is good. But then she becomes too codependent on the doll that the tech lady's built, and she can't like socialise without it. That becomes her whole entire social focus. And then it turns out that the doll can kind of, you know how like AI films are usually. Yeah. And but this doll becomes like killer in the end because there's like another flaw in the programming, but. It's very good. It's very
Is
good.
it just the flaw in the programming, or is there something more to it?
There's so more to it, but I can't remember because it was January. So
No, this is like your top raters though.
yeah, but that's why it's number. It was like 6 months ago, man. I'm trying to remember like stuff from the film, but it was just a really good watch. It was very like different to what you thought it was going to happen in the film.
Yeah, because when I first saw the trailer for it, I thought it was giving me pure Chucky vibes.
Sort of, but there's a number of different films that it takes inspiration from, and does it classily.
Okay.
I'd give it like a 7.5 maybe.
7.
It just very politely what's the word? It not subverted my expectations. It definitely went higher than what I thought it would be.
Okay.
And it's one that I'd recommend.
That's fair.
Yeah, don't knock it.
Don't knock it until you
And
try.
then number 13. It'd be slightly controversial, but with The Flash, which I saw last week, so I'm quite vivid in what I can remember from it.
Alright, tell me why. Why is it so low?
Just because in general it's like a little bit of a mess, but like some of it's in a good way, some of it's kind of not so much.
It's interesting because I've actually heard very good things about it.
But then I've also heard very bad things. There's very much a middle ground in it.
Yeah.
Once you realise that you're going in expecting it to be quite bad because of what the problems with the production were, and because Ezra Miller had that whole farce. Yeah.
Mate,
But then
every time that man goes to Hawaii, he just fights the whole of Hawaii. It's nuts, yeah.
why?
He's gone there twice. The first time he went, he got in trouble for basically fighting and assaulting people. And then the second time he went there, he started a cult, and then just...
That's so weird. But these things have to be mentioned because it definitely plays into what you're thinking about the film. The film's such a mess going in that the actual plot itself is quite... It's tight, but it's loose. And it kind of plays on the multiverse theory a little bit. And there's a point where there's 2 Flashes. But it does it doesn't do the origin thing that a general superhero film does. It shows him as it shows the Flash played by the other Barry Allen.
Okay.
But it shows his origins through the eyes of the other Flash. So the main Flash doesn't get his own origin story. It just kind of thrusts him into this weird multiverse, and I don't know. Some of it's very weird, and some of it's definitely drawn out way too much longer than it should be.
So how is it messy?
I'd say
is it
that.
a script? Is it the
anything
characters?
that does the multiverse thing, most of it's messy, and most of it isn't done very well. And I don't think this one does it better than most other films.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really have much to compete with.
No, but the thing
because there's only 5 or 6 films, and in all fairness, the best one is probably No Way Home.
Yeah, but I'm just sick of death in the multiverses. And other timelines and alternate timelines and all that kind of thing. I've got a problem with the weird cameos that they put in. So Ben Affleck's in it as Bruce Wayne,
That's
and then
cool,
Gal Gadot's in it for 2 minutes as Wonder Woman, and then Michael Keaton comes in as Batman at the end, and you have Supergirl. It all seems very...
So you're telling me, what you said about No Way Home, the reasons why it's bad is because it relies on the Easter eggs to make it better than what it actually is.
Yeah.
Instead of giving, Wonder Woman or the Ben Affleck's Batman without actually giving them arcs or any sort of story to actually merge.
I think that's a fair point. It's the script's probably about on par with what No Way Home was, but then the reason everyone ever loved No Way Home was because of the cameos were done well in people's eyes, and this one was just kind of tried to follow the formula, but it was a little bit messier.
Yeah.
It wasn't a terrible film at all. It was quite enjoyable, and it had its funny moments.
Yeah,
but the ending was just kind of a bit meh for me because it's just a big battle scene, and it kind of goes against what the tone of the film was. And plus, Barry Allen's quite annoying himself.
Yeah, I mean, when I think of the Justice League, I think of him kind of last.
Yeah.
I like Wonder Woman, I like Batman, I like Superman. You kind of just forget he's there.
People also moaned about the CGI. I don't think the CGI was terrible, but there's definitely some parts in the film that you can tell. It's the bits where he's running, which are a little bit weird, and then some of the people's faces when they're doing the timeline, the time traveling parts was very, very kind of badly muddled together. And it's very noticeable.
It's very strange because you think moving forward with tech and everything like that, you'd think that they would actually be better CGI, but it seems like movies in CGI are kind of going backwards.
This one does, but I'd put that probably on the production problems.
Yeah, because
say a really good film. You know what we said before about across the board. That's everything. When everything scores highly, the film's going to score highly.
Yeah.
There's elements of this film that are really good because they've had to keep hiring and firing directors, and they've made so many script changes and everything else. It didn't seem like they knew who was going to be directing parts on which part, and the production is just a mess, and it definitely shows. That's what my point is with the CGI. It feels very cheap in parts. Some of the acting and the dialogue was quite cheap as well. I don't think Ezra Miller's particularly kind of award-winning performance.
Unless he's in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's very noticeable, all the problems. You can see they're there, and they don't get fixed. But it's a good film. It's not terrible. I'd give it like a 7. But I wouldn't watch it again. It definitely felt like it dragged in parts.
How long is the runtime?
2 hours 24.
Yeah, see...
Very overstretched.
When anything hits over the 2 hour point, you got to really make sure that each scene was like perfect and each scene kind of like works. Otherwise, you know, you're allowed to have slow pace as long as like it introduces like interesting dialogue or an interesting scene, something that pushes it forward. But I feel like sometimes now they just want to hit that 2 hour mark to hit it.
Yeah, and I think there was enough there that they could afford to do that. As in, like, there's enough, because it takes part its thing from the Flashpoint comic, and there's like enough there that you can make a good 2.5 hour film about it. But it just felt kind of below the bar.
That's fair.
Right, hitting it at number 12 is Knock at the Cabin, the M. Night Shyamalan one. And I liked it because it's got a really good cast. It's got Dave Bautista in it. There's
I've heard a lot of bad things about that.
Oh, okay. What did you hear that was bad about it? Because you've not seen it yourself.
Well, number one, M. Night Shyamalan fucking directs it, and he's shit.
He's not shit.
I'm calling him out right now.
Well, yeah, we'll go find him up and give him your beef then.
Mate, I'm calling him out.
This is a good film because it's very tight, but then the twist that usually comes with his films is actually good. Because it does genuinely keep you guessing which way it's going to go.
So you're saying that his twists aren't good?
Some of them aren't, but this one was good.
They're awful, man.
No, this one's good.
He only made one good film, and that's The Sixth Sense.
No, he's done some other good ones.
Name one other.
Oh, right.
Don't say Village.
I don't really know his catalogue.
They're all awful.
I just watched this because it was out. I was like, fair.
No, fair. Okay, so when I first saw that it came out, I noticed that the reviews weren't that great. It was very, very mixed. So it's interesting that you've put it in the middle, because it seems like an either love-hate film.
Well, I don't think you can put it at the bottom. Because there's definitely enough there that you're engaged throughout the entire film. The ones that I've put at the bottom of the list are ones that I've kind of switched off or have just been kind of lacking in the areas that I rate as a film critic.
I've gone on the phone and just scrolled.
Yeah, but this one's got good writing. The cast actually enjoy what they're doing in it. And I like the genre, that kind of mystery, suspense kind of genre.
That's fair.
So it's basically, quick premise, gay couple and their daughter in a cabin, and then they're surrounded by these weird people that kind of follow them into the cabin. And they tie them up and basically say that they've got to kill one of the three, otherwise they'll stop otherwise the world will die. And what's weird is, as they all kind of refuse to do it because they don't want to kill off another member of their family, one of the four people each kills him themselves in the most gory, horrific ways. And then they turn on the TV and there's some random natural disaster that's happened, there's an earthquake or something, and millions of people have died. So it's kind of guessing as to whether they're faking it and they've pre-filmed some of this stuff, or if their prophecy is actually legit. And there's the kind of twist there. And then it kind of plays into other themes about anti-homosexuality. Might be one of the reasons why they've chosen this couple, that they've targeted them specifically, because they think they recognise one of the guys.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. There's good twists. Some of them escapes. The little girl gives a good performance. Dave Bautista's good.
See,
Rupert Grint's in it, and he's the first to go. So
love it.
It's gory. It's creative. It's just good writing. It doesn't really kind of waste much moments on it. I
wanted to get into that Dave Bautista thing. Was he actually very good in the movie?
Yeah, he plays the kind of villainous lead, but he's multifaceted. He's not. He seems quite religious, and he seems quite believing in what he does. All these guys they haven't been told by any kind of particular person why they have to go to this cabin. They all kind of had visions, and they're all drawn to this cabin for their own kind of selfish reasons. But they all genuinely see themselves as saviors and prophets in a way, and they're very believing and stoic in their belief about having to save the world.
I like it when your villains believe that they are the actual heroes in their story.
They do.
It makes it makes the villain just a lot more interesting, a lot more sort of you understand their motives and ideas.
But that's good, because if your villains are flat and aren't believable, then the whole film just doesn't feel legitimate.
You're only as strong. Sorry, your main character is only as strong as its villain.
Yeah, and what I like about the heroes is they're also physically strong. They're capable. They can get away with it. They're brought back, and they do eventually get out of the situation, and it's resolved, and it's Yeah, I just like it. The characters are very good, and then you've got this whole overarching thing: is are they like believable, and is this the whole thing like real, or is it all just a complete like conspiracy? It's good. It keeps you guessing.
Okay, man. So give me a rating.
7.5. I came out of this thinking it was a good film.
Yeah, fair.
I liked it. I rate it, and yeah, I think it's going to be a good film when it comes out on Netflix, and people will enjoy watching it.
Okay, bro. So next one.
Number 11, I believe, was Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh man, I've heard very, very good.
Which I think was a really fun film.
I heard it's just fun. You know, you can just get behind all the characters.
It's a fantasy film that doesn't take itself seriously, but does, and it's emotional when it needs to be. Surprisingly, like Michelle Rodriguez and Chris Pine are like the main two in the film. Their chemistry is really good. They're like an inseparable sort of not like couple, but like they're just a platonic but like really good together. Yeah.
No, fair. Okay.
And all the cameos that they have they actually work. None of it's wasted. Regé John Page is exceptional when he shows up on the screen. There's a very kind of like straight man, but like without humour, and it plays into Chris Pine's kind of humour. And there's a little bit of a rivalry, but it's friendly, it's respectful, it's funny. And the actual plot's very good as well. There's lots of memorable parts of this film.
Yeah, because when I first heard it's coming out, Dungeons and Dragons, that doesn't really give you...
Yeah, it sounds kind of cheesy, and it can be, but in a very like good way.
Fair.
I can't really think of many weaknesses to this film, man.
That's fair.
I came away from the cinema thinking, yeah, very like, it's a blockbuster, and it's a very good one.
Right, so what would you rate it over 10?
I'd say 8. Yeah,
fair.
To be fair, I probably could put this higher, but there's a lot of films that I really liked above it. So, like I said before, it's been a strong year for films. Definitely go out and watch Dungeons and Dragons as well.
Okay.
Really good film.
So, next one.
Number 10, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Number 10 is Are You There? It's Me, Margaret.
I've never even heard of this film.
It's the Rachel McAdams one. It's basically a kind of coming of age film. Think of Fabelmans and what was that one that won Best Film 2 years ago? Licorice Pizza.
What?
Yeah, no, yeah. It's those kind of coming of agey American-y kind of films, but it's like feel good. I don't know. It's hard to put into like a premise. It's basically like her parents are one's a Jew and one's a Christian.
Oh god.
And it's sort of got religious overtones again. I like it when films kind of go into religious, but it's a battle between the two parents because her parents didn't like that she married a Jew and cut her out of their life. Yeah, and her parents hate her, so they cut her out. And it's about basically her growing up from the age of like 10, and it kind of goes into feminine growing up kind of things. Growing up as a young girl, and the relationship between her and her grandma, and then between her and her mum as they move out to a different area. I don't know, it's just kind of fun, and it plays on her trying to choose her religion while kind of dealing with growing up in a group of friends that like end up liking boys, and they meet up in some secret club. It's kind of like different areas to it. It's good and it's respectful. It's based off a book. It's good performances all around.
Okay, so you rate this one quite high, but it just kind of sounds like it's any other coming of age film.
Because it's got a very positive tone. And tone plays a lot more kind of into your rankings of films than I think most people give it credit for. It's how you feel when you're watching it. I was engaged the entire time. I liked it because it goes a bit kind of higher class than what some films do. It plays on themes that I personally enjoy watching. And it did it really well. And it's very colourful. The gradient's very kind of American-y, kind of positive.
Is there anything different about it? Is there anything different to it? Let's say like an American Pie or...
No, it's a very different genre to American Pie.
I mean,
it's through the eyes of a young girl, not like teenagers trying to get laid.
Girl.
Yeah, she's like 10, 11, 12.
So is it like kind of like Stand By Me kind of thing?
Sort of, yeah.
Younger.
But it's not terribly dark or anything like that. It's just, like I said, uplifting.
Okay.
And it was good. That's why I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. I came away thinking I enjoyed it. Yeah. And it's not terribly difficult to get into. You know, it plays on themes that you may not like, but I personally enjoyed. But it's at number 10 because there's like obviously other films that...
Middle of the road.
Yeah, but
like
good.
Middle of the road.
But I'd still give it an 8, you know? I still enjoyed it.
That's still really good.
Yeah, I still enjoyed it. So, yeah, don't knock me, son. And,
I will, don't worry. Alright, next.
Number 9 was Spider-Verse.
Oh, interesting.
Which I didn't hate, but I didn't think it was as good as the first one.
Oh, so, nowhere near as good as the first one.
You know, the soundtrack was good. But because everyone expected it to be a massive blockbuster.
But I mean, the soundtrack in the first one was better. You had that Post Malone Sunflower.
That was banging, wasn't
It's a banger.
So like, basically, why it didn't work for you is you're saying that the story was weaker, the villain was kind of a mess.
See, look, remember what I said, like literally like a couple, I think like 2 before. Your hero is only as strong as its villain. In other words, means like, if you don't have a good, if the protagonist doesn't have a good antagonist, to keep him on his feet, to keep him going, then the plot and the story itself really does fall.
Because it's clearly set up to be a 2-parter, and I think everyone knew that going in. You have to make some acceptances for that.
I didn't, but still, that doesn't give you an excuse to basically cut out your main villain halfway through the film. It doesn't.
Maybe, but
it doesn't excuse it. And not only that, complete the story that you're telling first before you start another film.
But it's part 1 and 2.
Yeah,
so
but
they have the whole good parts of the story. This is just a setup.
Yeah.
The punchline's coming in the second arc.
But the thing is, like, if you are making this a 2-part, then the punchline has to come at the end of this one and also in the end of the next one.
But it does, because it reveals Miles Morales is the Prowler.
Yeah, but then it just cuts it. So you're telling the story and you cut it. It's like,
I don't know.
It's exactly what I said in my other video. It's like, would you cut Lord of the Rings halfway through the Helm's Deep battle? No. You actually complete the story of what you're telling.
I know what you're saying. I'm with you on that. The ending was a bit weak. Well, not weak, but it was a bit confusing, maybe.
It's...
And we need to see how part 2 goes before we can really say if the ending part 1 was bad or not.
It's kind of like, like in Spider-Man 2 when he stops the train and then he just kind of cuts there. It's like, what? Like, actually finish it all, please.
Just because.
Yeah, finish it on like an actual, narrative story end plot. Don't finish it halfway through just because
As
in the
a narrative, I thought it was pretty good. Gwen Stacy's story's fleshed out very well. I think Miguel O'Hara's a very convincing sort of anti-hero.
Yeah, but then
Miles Morales becomes stronger and bolder, and that's why everybody goes against him in the end, because he's thinking for himself outside of what all the other Spider-Man League thinks.
See, look, I think Miles Morales is excellent in it. I do actually really enjoy him. I think he actually is a very good Spider-Man. Him as a character, I do not have any problem with. I don't have a problem with his parents. I think his parents are actually really good in it. Gwen she's okay.
I think the difference in this one compared to the first one is the first one kind of is more goofy and more character heavy. This one's very plot driven.
Yeah, but
maybe because you liked the characters so much, you kind of wanted more of that. But this goes into a slightly different direction, but it does it well.
Yeah, I just think that the whole Spider-Verse was done better in the first one. I don't think they overcomplicated it in the first one, and they got some really good characters like Noir Spider-Man and the other like Spider-Pig and everything.
Yeah.
It did it really well. And then also Kingpin in the first one, he was an awesome villain because I think it's his family dies while he's fighting Spider-Man. So he's trying to bring his family back from a different universe so he can be with them again. Yeah. So yeah.
You didn't like it. I thought it was good. I'd give it like an 8.
Yeah.
It's just, it was very uplifting again. I feel like a child saying this, but if a film's like, I don't know, colourful and summery and...
Yeah, no, it's just...
I can appreciate that. Right, so we're getting into the top 10. Number 8 for me was The Covenant, Guy Ritchie film.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you know it went straight to Amazon. But it's a war film, another one with Jake Gyllenhaal, which I think is really good. And I can't remember the actor, the other guy, the Taliban interpreter guy. So essentially...
Jason Statham, probably.
No, it's not, he's not.
What?
But, shut up, let me review it.
A Guy Ritchie film about Jason Statham.
I should have put Operation Fortune in it. Yeah, actually, that's pretty, doesn't crack top 20.
No.
Right, this one's basically Jake Gyllenhaal as a corporal, and his unit is trying to prevent the spread of IEDs from the Taliban in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
They're trying to find all the bombs and the production line and stop that. And they have to go into the city and get leads from like the locals who hate the Taliban. And they hire, the key relationship is the hiring of a Afghani interpreter who can speak the language and he can get information from the locals and he can give that to his leader and they can find the source. He's kind of a loose cannon, this guy. He's called Ahmed Abdullah. Sort of a hardened guy who's kind of been through life, and he used to work for the Taliban, but I think they killed his son. And that's revealed subtly in the film. There's subtleties between why he joins the American army.
Okay.
And yeah, he's really good. That's the key relationship. He's sort of a loose cannon who kind of has a good sense, like a sixth sense for where things will go wrong, and he can stop them from making stupid decisions because he knows the lay of the land. And once he's prevented a few, he gains the trust of his leader. And there's a kind of a botched mission where all of the squad's wiped out apart from them two, and they're being chased around Afghanistan by the Taliban. And Ahmed basically gives his life to save Jake Gyllenhaal's character. And he has to basically drag him like hundreds of miles, like just using pure resourcefulness, like to escape Afghani attention. And once Jake Gyllenhaal's character gets out, Ahmed has to hide in Afghanistan while Jake Gyllenhaal's, I should really remember his name, John maybe or something.
No, just call him Jake. It's
yeah.
fine.
While Jake's character is actually like safe and Ahmed's still on the run, and he's like got a bounty on his head. And the second half of the film is Jake trying to get Ahmed out of Afghanistan into America, but he keeps getting stonewalled and stopped every time. So he decides to put his life on the line and come back and help the guy that's helped him. It's a really good film, man. It's a really good plot. I like those kind of war films like Hacksaw Ridge where there's a moral lesson in it, and it goes into how bleak war actually is. Yeah. You know, and it doesn't hide away from anything, and it's a good action film as well. Very strong in its own right. I liked it.
Right.
Really good film.
Give me a rating.
8.5.
8.5?
Yeah,
nice.
Man. Good film. Really good film. Watch it. Definitely recommend. These ones are the ones that I'd recommend as like bangers, and this one definitely toes the line.
Okay.
So yeah, I know you've not seen it.
No, I haven't seen it.
But it's Guy Ritchie, and you can never really go wrong with him.
No,
and he's trying his hand at a war film as well, and he does it really well.
Yeah,
really well.
So he does action really well.
Go watch, guys. Go watch.
That's interesting.
Number 7, I would say Polite Society. It's one I've wanted to review for a while, but I'll give you like a brief one. If I was comparing it to a film, the effects and the cinematography is like similar to Super, Kick-Ass, and Everything Everywhere All at Once. That kind of in-your-face brightness, words, kind of YouTube-y kind of style. Yeah, it's fun. It's a young girl called Ria Khan and her sister have a tight relationship. Sister gets married off to a guy, like a rich guy. But
does she want to get married though?
We don't know. She wants to be an artist, but then she ends up actually genuinely falling in love with this guy.
Oh, okay.
But Ria can't stand her sister, who she cares deeply for her sister. That's the whole kind of thing for the plot, and she doesn't trust this other guy or his mum, who's like kind of creepy. Oh. But it's all played very well by the cast. Like they're all very, very well done characters, and yeah, and it's about her trying to stop her sister getting married off essentially. And then there's like a deeper plot behind it, and it gets very like splicey, kind of sci-fi-y, where it turns out that he's trying to basically find the perfect woman, and like part of his mum's soul, but like she has like the perfect fallopian tubes or some bollocks. It's weird. Yeah, it gets kind of weird, but
so it just totally turns on his head.
Yeah, really. But it's fun. It's uplifting. It's fun. Yeah, no.
All right, rate it.
No, 8.5.
8.5.
I couldn't quite give it a 9. There's some sort of like flaws, but it's just.
But it's like near that sort of very, very good.
It's really fun.
Alright, cool.
Yeah,
move on.
Number 6, Sisu. If you like action films, this is the one for you.
This is a banging movie.
And Nazis.
Yeah, so it's set during World War II in Finland, and this the main character, Sisu is his name? Yeah, must be.
No, Sisu's the term.
Yeah, Sisu's the term. Yeah, exactly.
What's his name? Who cares what his name is?
Yeah, I mean, like he's quiet throughout the whole entire movie. I mean, he doesn't even speak a single word until the very, very end. But he basically finds some gold, and then he's like, payday for me, and he has to get this gold to the bank in like a town, and he goes past a big like sort of like group of Nazis, and then he has to basically fight his way through these like Nazis just to get the gold to the bank. It's a very simple point.
But explain why it's so good.
It's because it just doesn't do anything, it doesn't overcomplicate itself. It's like, here's a guy, some badass dude, who just has to kill a whole bunch of Nazis. And the actual action is very good. Like, the action is very out there. I mean, like, the final death, he straps him to a bomb and then explodes him out of a plane.
The action choreography is creative, it's smart, it's realistic. It's also hilarious.
It's not realistic because he literally throws a landmine at one of their heads. Like, it's not realistic, but it's fun. It's a really, really fun movie.
The main character, you can believe that he's a badass.
Oh, massively.
And he's feared by Russians and Germans everywhere. Once they realise who he is, they are scared. This guy's got some history.
I mean, it goes to them in the radio in like the tank. And he's like, and they tell him like who the guy is, and the guy's like, yeah, he's telling us just to go back. And he goes, but he killed like 5 of our men. He said, yeah, he said you got off lucky. Like, just turn back. So like, you know, this guy is just badass. Like,
it's straightforward but creative. It's visually stunning as well.
Oh yeah, I mean like the sort of like bleak landscapes, like the open wilderness as well. Like the cinematography in it is actually really good.
These Nazis are fucking evil. Well, they are evil anyway.
Oh, massively.
But you've got the women as well. that they're sexually abusing, and then they end up teaming up with Sisu, and they all become like badasses as well.
But it's done in like a right way.
Yeah,
it's done like a right way.
Again, there's a right way and a wrong way to treat history, and this one. He just toes the line. He just goes brutal, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, and also Nazis as bad guys is always like the safest thing to play because everyone hates Nazis. Everyone knows they're bad, and then you naturally hate Nazis. So you're like, yeah, let's.
And it's really good when you get films from other countries that can really stand out on their own.
Oh yeah,
this is like I think this might be a Danish film or something, but
yeah,
very good, very good.
It's a very very good movie.
So that's why we give it a 9 out of 10. That's why we really liked it.
No, well, I'll agree with you. A 9.
Yeah, it can't be a 10.
Yeah, no, it can't be a 10.
But 9, mate, very strong. And also, shout out Critical Drinker for recommending this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wouldn't have known it. It wasn't showing at cinema. I didn't see it anywhere.
I saw it like on a trailer, like way back.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like it looked interesting. But and then I saw it. I was like, oh, that's that film that looked interesting, and then just loved it.
It's 90 minutes as well.
Yeah, it doesn't. Need to be
you can sit down and watch
it
and just enjoy it.
Yeah, it's great.
Right, so that's number 5, John Wick 4, which is a nice, similarity. Yeah. We like our action films, right? We're unapologetic in that.
I mean, I like all films, but action films I do really like as well. John Wick 4 is a standout, though. I think it's actually a standout for the franchise. I don't think it's the best one. But I think it's a very, very good one. And I like the fact how they've ended it. I mean, I don't know if there will be a John Wick 5.
Well, it's in rumours.
Yeah, there's rumours, but I think killing off the character...
adds to it, doesn't it? It elevates the film.
Yeah, because, when things go on for too long, like franchises do tend to do that, to go on for too... Fast and Furious,
which hasn't made the list.
So, leaving on a high... kind of like Breaking Bad, like it didn't overstay its welcome, and I think John Wick did that because you can visibly, you can see Keanu Reeves getting older, like you can really see that. It started to get a bit less believable and everything like that.
But why this is good is because the action scenes are great. It's fast paced. I like the scenes where they put on the radio, they put a bounty on his head, and every vigilante or villain in France is trying to kill him.
Did you know that's an Easter egg to The Warriors?
Is it?
Yeah.
Explain.
Because the way she does it with the radio, it just shows her lips, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then she even says boppers, which basically it's the exact shot from The Warriors where they put the hit out on The Warriors when they're trying to get home.
Oh, sick.
And also they even played Nowhere to Run, which is the same song from The Warriors. It was a massive.
Do you think the characters were better? Go into the characters.
So,
there's not a lot to say about them.
Donnie Yen is a fantastic addition.
Yeah.
He is such a cool character, him being blind but also being a pure badass. Donnie Yen himself is a great actor.
He's been in a lot as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's It Man, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, just right there, I personally love him as an actor. So just to have him in one of the most badass franchises and see him being badass, it just
fits well, doesn't it?
It just fits well, and I'm very okay with this. I'm very okay with him, you understand his motives because he's trying to, protect his daughter and everything like that. So he has to go up against his friend to save his daughter, like any man would. So, you understand, his motives, but you can see in his eyes that, well, he's blind. But you can see that he likes John Wick and he respects John Wick and he's a friend.
What I like about this film is it weaves loads of different genres into it, but it doesn't.
Massively.
You could call it an action film, but there's definitely hints and inspiration from other films that plays well.
Yeah,
they really took a lot of time to get a good narrative and really put a lot of effort into it. And I respected it.
Yeah, man.
Long film, but it doesn't waste a lot of time.
No.
There's at least 4. You can split up into 4 different settings, and there's fight scenes in it that I love. I love the scene in the German nightclub, the scene in the cathedral. The one in the Chinese restaurant.
Mate, all of them are great.
Yeah. And then the last act in France is great as well. And then you've got the duel
Yeah, the duel. The
Yeah,
duel's
it's
great.
really good. There's many memorable things about this film.
Yeah.
Really good, really good.
Do you think it's the best one?
Yeah, I really like number 1 as well. But
I really like number 1 as well. And also, like, the fact with
it's
it,
tough.
it also builds, like, the lore, like, a lot more stronger as well. So, the thing is, which makes John Wick separate to, like, Sisu and also, like, Nobody, it's just because it just has that much more bigger lore around it. Like, it has, like, a lot more depth to it than just a guy being a badass.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes John Wick stand out more than, like, the rest.
It's definitely a profitable franchise.
Oh,
But they've
100.
made the decision to cut it at the right time.
Okay.
What do you give out of 10?
Oh, bro, you beat me to it. I was going to say, what is your rating?
9. I think so. I think
9.
that's fair. I can't give it a 10 because like you can't just give out 10s to everything.
Can't just, like, dish out 10s.
This one scores highly.
9. I think
Yeah.
9's a good one.
But it's in number 5 because there's like 4 better films. And ironically, one of them's Guardians, which is the next one.
Guardians.
Yeah.
You're rating that
I kind of know we
high?
gave it an 8. Maybe I might have to push it down the rankings, but
No, but the thing
Guardians
is, like...
scores highly. We've
Mate-
already reviewed it pretty much.
Yeah.
And everyone knows about Guardians. It's a good film. Go watch it. I really love the emotional parts of it. Rocket is fantastic. Quill's fantastic. And it's nice to get another series or franchise that knows when to end.
Yeah,
Strong
I mean,
ending.
I mean, the Marvel films have always been like 3 apiece and then that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, they did it
This
with
one's
Iron Man,
strong.
Captain America, now Guardians. Yeah, I mean, like, it's definitely the weakest of the 3.
I feel like maybe I should have pushed this below John Wick, to be fair. But
I would have, personally.
we can switch the 2 up.
But maybe, like, you've rethought about it and you've liked it more, like, the more you think about it.
Yeah, it was good. It just held up. But we've already done the review for it, so I'm not going to...
No, it's fine. Just give it, like, a simple one, then.
Okay, team of Muppets goes to save Raccoon, really. It's
Done.
pretty
Sorted.
simple, yeah.
Yeah.
It's flashy, it's comedic.
And I have to admit, the Rocket, like, actual story beats are the best thing about
Yeah, I
it.
think just maybe on a second rewatch it just stood out better.
Yeah, fair.
I enjoyed it. So yeah, it's I'd still put it below John Wick actually. But very good. I'd probably switch the 2 around.
Right, so are we switching them?
I reckon so. Yeah, I think so.
Alright, so...
I still have Guardians in top 5.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Top three.
Is Air, which is like definitely top 3. Again, I've already reviewed this. Go watch it. Historically accurate. Just really good cast. That's it.
Go a bit more into it, fam.
Alright, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. How's that?
Just go a bit more into it.
Alright, fine. Have you still not watched it yet?
No.
Okay, basketball, Nike wants to like fire off their basketball team, but they have to like one last chance to get a guy that's gonna like be the ambassador for their new shoe. Michael Jordan.
Good
It's
shout.
like a coming of age story, but kind of not.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, that's all I want to go into. 'Cause-
And you said it's like it's pretty flawless. Like it does all the good things
yeah,
well.
like I said, go watch our other review.
Okay,
I'm just saying we can use this video to advertise our other ones.
fair. Go watch it. I'll leave a link down in
We've
the
already
description
done
below.
like 15 minutes reviewing this one, so
All right, fair.
there's only so much you can say. Number 2 is A Man Called Otto, which is actually an adaptation of a Swedish film, but it's done in American style about a grumpy old geezer called Otto, played by Tom Hanks, who gives a very flawless performance, I'd say.
I mean, Tom Hanks is great.
Meets a young like Mexican woman and her family, and there's like a nice friendship between that as he slowly lets her into his life and she slowly draws him out of his. It's a character piece, really. And
Okay.
it's just done very, very well.
Okay. So what makes
Set
this?
in Minnesota or something.
Right, so what makes this stand out from the rest? This is number 2.
Oh, it's
And
just
you put this higher than John Wick.
well,
Sisu,
what I'm saying
Guardians.
is, you hire such a well-renowned actor who can play these kind of characters as Tom Hanks. I don't think there's anybody finer in the business than him. Give him like a really well adaptation. Like, give him a very good story and kind of like watch him go. Let him show his acting
You
chops.
kind of butchered it with Elvis, but
That wasn't him. Oh, no, that was it. It was the second one. Oh, I forgot well. Yeah, no, it's a really good film. Yeah, but Elvis wasn't. Elvis went this year, was it?
no, it was last. It was last.
Okay.
But
If you want to watch an actor just basically get given a very good script and kind of run with it, and then watch his relationships between the other cast members, but they don't push Tom Hanks out of the forefront. He is always the main character.
he's the main dude.
And watch him go from like a guy that's grieving his wife and doesn't want to help anyone to a guy that's like helps people, man. It's just very good. It's the evolution of a character. And sometimes those films, when they're done really well, can score higher than action films.
So it's just more or less like a pure character study.
Yeah, really.
That's fair. I
It's
mean, like,
very good. And because it's already been adapted before, they kind of know where to tweak it and make it better for an American audience, and also where to let the original stuff
okay.
lie. And
Right.
it's just very, very kind of uplifting. It's sad, it's poignant, because there's a lot of flashbacks between how he met his wife and then the tragedy of their son, and then how his wife died and how he became who he was.
Okay.
Yeah, man, I just loved it.
Alright,
I
rating.
loved it. 10. Yeah, this one, I've got to say it, it's a 10.
You're dishing out of 10?
The thing was, it scored very well last year, and then, because I think it was like at the Oscars, maybe got some nominations, but yeah, it's one of them that might go under the radar for this year, but it's one of them that should be remembered as like being one of the better films of the year.
Number 1.
Number 1, and I have to preface this, is my favourite genre. This is a personal thing.
Okay, so what is the genre first?
It's anime, but it's from a director that I've followed for years. So it's Suzume, which is
What does that mean?
it means something, whatever. But if you want a film that's got gorgeous artwork, fucking stunning visuals, and then like a plot that's just like very kind of fantasy, but like, oh man, this film just had everything I want in an anime film.
Right, explain, like, what made it great? What's made it number 1?
Number 1 was the kind of how I felt about the film at the time.
Okay.
It's weird to kind of give it a plot, because like, it's basically a sort of fantasy, but not. Sort of time travel-y. So there's a girl who like meets a guy, and this guy's acting as like a preventer of like these worms coming out of these holes and like kind of stopping the world from like exploding or whatever. But I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. It's just a personal number 1, and this is like gonna flop because like I'm terrible at explaining films. But like,
No, alright, so just tell me the one thing that makes it that number 1. Like, what
the
is for you?
visuals. The visuals are stunning.
Okay.
Hand drawn, they are absolutely stunning. The best thing I've seen in years.
Okay, that's fair
And
enough.
it's another like top-notch film from this director.
Writing fine?
Oh, right, it's stunning, man.
Yeah?
The characters are like, I don't know, I feel like anyone who's not a fan of the genre will watch it and just go meh. But this is the one that like, my top tier, and it's no question. But this is a very personal thing.
Yeah, because to be honest, I struggle a lot with
You'd
anime.
watch it and wouldn't give a toss.
Yeah,
and a lot of
I
people would watch
probably
it and
would, yeah.
wouldn't care. A lot of people would maybe put like a John Wick as their number 1. This for me
Or
is just
Guardians,
happens to be
yeah.
my John Wick. This happens to be my kind of guilty pleasure slice
fair.
of life, and it's got fantasy, it's got elements that I love.
Alright,
Taken from a genre that I love.
tell me something else about it. Tell me, like, apart from the visuals, is it great character depth? Is there
There's a good story between the characters, a great story between the characters, but I don't know, it's hard to quantify. I can't really articulate anime and say why it's so good to a lot of people that aren't really going to give it a toss. So, yeah, it's my number 1. It's a 10 out of 10. Suzume, go watch it, and if you don't like that genre, then maybe it's not going to be for you. But this is my personal rankings.
Fair?
So, I don't care. This is like a 10
So
out of 10. Yeah, no question, man.
Alright.
Yeah, that's my rankings.
Mate, did you have fun?
I did, man. And I also realised how bad I am at explaining film plots. But then don't forget, this is like a space of about 6 months worth of stuff, and I'm trying to remember everything.
Yeah, no, it's fair, I feel that. But it's nice to get like a ranking video.
People love rankings.
People love ranks.
And also, we'll have the appropriate time codes for every film, so you can kind of skip to the ones you watch.
Flip through, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, this has been our first ever ranking episode.
Maybe next time you write a script.
No, it's fine. Let's wing it. But yeah, so yeah, let us know what you want us to like rank next. Like maybe like a franchise of films that we can rank, like Friday the 13th
I'm
or something
feeling
like that.
Asteroid City might be the next review. That's the
Asteroid
next
City?
big one. I reckon so.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the audience wants.
Yeah, or maybe like rank like a franchise, like rank all the MCU films.
Ooh. Well, didn't you say that you wanted your mate to come on and rank the Spider-Man films?
Yeah, we will.
So we'll do that. We'll do that.
So again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and in the comments tell us your top 20 films of, the past 6 months. Do any of these films get in there, or are any of these films a lot lower or higher? But let us know.
Yeah, we did, but also missed The Whale out, but that came out last year technically, and we reviewed.
Yeah, like it did come out because that.
So The Whale would be a top 3 one, but technically it's last year, so it kind of missed the cusp.
Yeah, just though. But I guess it did come out in the UK in February.
January, I think. Hey,
Yeah. Anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tune in next time.